Hi there. It's me, your host, halfd0rk. Welcome. So, Monday, October the 3rd, 2020. Welcome in, everybody. I'm going to be walking you through a lot of the things I tend to approach in a game jam. Today, we're going to be working on combat, specifically. I've got like a notepad of things I need to get accomplished. So going to be working on those as questions roll in. So as we work in the Game Maker, I highly encourage you all to ask your questions. Maybe there's something I can help you with. I am more than excited to troubleshoot these things with you as they come up. So free to ask any questions you have, even if you're just curious about how to get started in the Game Maker. One thing we're going to do before we get started is talk about a Sandstorm event coming up. And I'm going to be dropping links as we just chat it up. So first things first, if you're interested in the game that we're working on today, I have a link to get started with that. And good morning, all the friends in chat. I see BitLancer was here first. Welcome. Vvox, how you doing? Escape Room Artist, OG. How's it going, friends? Roxy Miguel, buenos dias. Welcome. So there's the link to get started with the Game Jam. If you would like to participate, this is a very great opportunity for beginners because it is basically participation trainings for playing, just for entering into this contest. You're rewarded with sand, and so that's highly incentivized. But one thing we're going to talk about is a Sandstorm event going on. So you'll notice. Let's see if I can get it up on screen here. Sandstorm sent out a tweet. So there is a builders contest that you can participate in that is Halloween themed, very spooky, and it's in partnership with the Cyberkongs. So if you want to take a look at the details here, and I'll make sure to like and retweet this. We'll drop the link for the tweet. We're going to take a quick look at the specifics of the contest. So take a peek here. It's the Halloween party scene. So we're making a party scene exclusively Halloween. Just keep in mind that you're going to have to do it before Halloween. October 14th is the deadline. So less than 2 weeks. But I'm sure you can make a great scene in Voxedit if that's something you're interested in. And it's a great way to get started in making things, especially in this great community. People are very supportive here, so I know you'll make something fantastic. So, yeah, give it a quick read. Do you remember the amazing Sandstorm party back in April? Well, time for a new one. This time, we're partnering with the Cyberkongs to host a massive Halloween party at the end of October. You definitely won't want to miss this opportunity to show your skills to the entire Web3 community. So the theme is designing a Halloween-themed party scene. Some quick ideas that come to mind. You're welcome to use them. Let's like a piñata. Like you smack it, candy corn pops out. Candy corn themed anything. I love candy corn. Bobbing for apples, witches, a bunch of different monsters meeting up and having like musical chairs. The ideas are endless. So if you guys need an idea, feel free to shout it out in chat. I'd be happy to workshop something with you too. So the prize pool, fantastic, supplied by Sandstorm here. 5,000 total for the top 20. So very good odds there to get a little payday. First place, 1,500. Second place, 1,000. Third place, 750. Fourth, 500. Fifth, 500. Sixth through 10th, 100. And 11th through 20th, 25 sand. Usually common practices, filling out the form, bidding on the proposal. Oh, interesting. So you do have to be level 2 verified on the website. So this is the Sandstorm. And here are more details if you all want to read more about this. Brainstorming ideas right now. Let's go. Hey, Brock, follow me. Welcome in. Elsa Bryan. Hi, how are you? So, yeah. It's worth getting set up on Sandstorm website if you want to participate in these Voxedit contests, which are occurring pretty much every month, if not more often. Details, 128 by 128 by 128. That's roughly like a square the size of maybe like 5 people up and down. Well, 128 would probably be like 3 people up and down. Anyway, just keep in mind that you are confined to a space. 128 by 120 by 128. Strict faces, 5,000 max. This allows it to be optimized for the Game Maker. No walls. So this is going to be an open scene. So that's actually a very important thing to note. You can't have like a room. We want this to be featured in a Sandstorm, like a little dance floor, like a giant, think of it like a, what's the word, like a con, like a Comic-Con. So everybody has like their own little booth. We want everybody to basically be shown and displayed to where you can see everything. So good luck, have fun. I look forward to seeing all the Halloween stuff. I want to see some spooky things. Very exciting. So now that we've talked about what's going on in the Sandstorm, we're going to go ahead and get to work. And I'm happy to answer questions as they come up. Feel free to drop them in chat. But thank you for joining us today. So where I left off is kind of like starting on quests. So I have like a template. I have essentially like a storyline that I'll be following where the player will spawn in and they'll have like 3 side quests, 2 of which will give them like equipment, 1 of which will continue the storyline. So it's like one quest is essentially the main quest. The entire game revolves around this kind of like quest to quest to quest. However, there's going to be plenty of side quests along the way. If you've played RPGs, that's kind of place of practice. So it's all of my games just for a little bit of extra fun and flair. So the main quest is going to be defeating basically the evil entities. So we're going to be setting up a battlefield here where all of my Vikings are going to be fighting skeletons. So I'm going to get to work. So each of my skeletons is going to be essentially respawning. And then we also have defenders. So we're going to have allies, people you can hit, but you don't want to. And they're quote unquote mortal. So if they die, well, that's going to be a problem. The skeletons are going to keep attacking whatever they can find. So I've also included a healer. So we're going to be setting up a healer mechanic to where she's going to be roaming around healing all of our allies. But the skeletons, every time you defeat one, they'll respawn. And one thing I do want to kind of like show off and brag about, because I worked on these this weekend, is I made new lamps. And these are my like version 3.0, I think, at this point. So I just want to demonstrate the idea behind these. And you guys are getting a sneak peek here at Sandstorm. And then Roxy, I see your question here. Well, as you're gazing upon my new lamps, let's see what Roxy's asking. We can have something that tells us we did not complete a mission, and we can do it again without getting a check that the mission was completed. So can we have that, I believe is what you're asking. So essentially, quests are not able to be renewed. However, I'm pretty certain you could make a quest that if you fail it or complete it, it would allow you to basically get a second version of that quest. And that could be something we kind of like play with. That's a little bit more advanced. Essentially, if you, let's just hypothetically talk it out. If you fail a quest, you can have a trigger that sends out a message that enable or unlock a copy of that quest. So basically, behind the scenes, you would have 2 versions of the same quest. And so that way, if you do fail the first one, and so this is just me theorizing. Those are mighty fine lamps. Thanks, OG. So I'll just talk about how I would use these real quick. So we have messages. So this would be like above a skeleton's head, for example, and I would have it invisible, and I could customize it. So he'd be like, "Rawr! Now I'm angry." And we would have this whenever the skeleton respawns. So as we can see, this invisible asset would be on its own. And so the skeleton will respawn after it's destroyed. So he might run off and attack an enemy, but when we destroy him, we'll have him respawn here at the same location. Go ahead and use this as a like a respawn point too. For now, I'll enable it, but I will have it say skeleton because it's going to be talking. So this is a message. And it's going to be waiting for a particular message. So this will be skeleton respawn 1. We'll copy that message. We're also going to tag it. So we're going to use the same exact message as the tag itself. And so this message will appear whenever this message is sent. And so that message is going to be sent when we defeat the skeleton. So we can go into the health component. We're going to set up a tag so that when we destroy the skeleton, for testing, I'm going to give it 1 health point so I can just walk up. It's going to respawn at that tag we just set up. And then sent on death is what's in there. We want to use that same message. And we're going to be sending it to the tag so that it can talk. So 2 things are happening behind the scenes. So we attack the skeleton, killing it. When it dies, it's respawning to the tag. So it's respawning to this tag. The second thing that's happening is it's sending out a message. That message is skeleton.respawn.1, which is being received by our checkpoint or skeleton respawn point. So then now he says, "Rawr, now I'm angry." And so now we can test that. And I'll move all my lamps to the side here. And we'll be using these throughout the session. This is my excuse for kind of like beta testing them. Of course, just in case. So last night I had a bit of a scare. My Windows basically crashed, like blue screen of death stuff. And I spent 4 to 5 hours to get it back into a working position. I don't know how this keeps happening. I guess I spawned. Nope, I spawned outside of it. Sometimes it's been buggy like that. I wonder if it does that for anybody else. So you defeat it. It says, "Rawr, now I'm angry." So a couple things here. We would like for this "Rawr, now I'm angry" to be a little bit more skeleton-y. Also, like, he's not gonna say anything. So this was just like an example, I would say. If anybody has some dialogue they'd like to see in this game, do let me know. Stream's lagging for you guys? Uh-oh. It could be time for a round reset. I hope it's not too laggy. I'll dumb down the quality a little bit. Hopefully that'll help. All right, I cut the quality a tad. Hopefully that'll improve the stream. I apologize for any delays. Here and there, okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for the report. Fuzzy but steady now? Okay. If it's too bad, if it's too fuzzy, just let me know. Yes, if anybody has Game Maker questions, please do drop them in the chat. I'd love to ask them and give you troubleshooting help as we figure it out together. So our skeleton here, instead of saying something, maybe you'll hear like click clacks, Rad. Just kind of presents like, hey, the skeleton just respawned, And this time we're not going to have the skeleton's name on the message. So we'll see how this looks. I think we'll have the auto hide delay be a little bit lower as well. We defeat the skeleton. Back rattle. So this just kind of represents, like, hey, the skeleton, they just keep coming. You can't kill them all. I would probably want this to be a little bit higher so we could see that the message was overlaid on like underneath his health bar, so we couldn't even read it. So to fix that, we can add an indicator component. So with this indicator component, I don't have to set up anything of note other than having the offset be a little bit higher. We can hide everything else. Let's see how this looks. Now when he spawns, it looks like the rattling does not work with the indicator itself. Maybe there's an offset. No offset on the speaker component either. So if you want to offset the speaker, then you would just have to move the asset itself. Let's see how this looks. Now the skeleton will fall from the sky. And he won't touch the ground. So if we wanted to fix this, we basically duplicate it, put one on the ground, and have one in the air. And the one in the air, we can remove the tag. And the one on the ground, we would remove the speaker. Now he'll spawn on the ground. Oh, but now we need the tag. So we'll set up a new tag for this one. So it'll be skeleton message.one. We go into the health component, and instead of sending that message, we're going to be setting up skeleton.message.one. That way it doesn't confuse us later on. Can't believe how fun and awesome Escape Room Artist is. Yeah, that's a good placeholder, Escape Room Artist. Yeah, I like where your head's at. Now we have a couple different assets, but each one of them doing something unique. Click, click, rattle. And then the other one serves as the tag, so our skeleton is always touching the ground. That way he can run at us. Great. So now we have that, and it's an example, I would say. Maybe I'll adjust the size. So if you didn't know, you can adjust the size of your text as well as the color. So we'll try 20-ish, and we'll change the color of this. We'll do like a yellow. And so if you ever want to change the size or the color, this is how it would be formatted. You do a less than sign, then size equals sign, number, greater than sign. And then for color, less than sign, color equals whatever color you like. You can also use a hex code, greater than sign. And then at the end of whatever text you're editing, you'll do a less than sign, / size. So that closes the size, greater than sign, less than / color, greater than. We can see how that looks. Yo, what's up, Bug Zombie? Sorry about the lag. It's definitely something to do with my router then. So I'll be sure to fix it after the stream here. We can see the text is a little bit larger. I think by default the text is like 16-ish. So let's bump it up a notch. And then we'll take out one of these words because I think the text might be too large now. Panel. And we can use Escape Room Artist's example here. Here, let me just make sure I get it verbatim. I can't believe how fun and awesome Escape Room Artist is Rattle. Pineapple Food Pen, what's up, dude? So I know the Game show is currently live, so we at Sandstorm are trying to find like a good time to compliment. So I'm enjoying your Monday, whatever stream you happen to tune into. Thanks for visiting us. What's up, Rattle? I can't believe how fun and awesome Escape Room Artist is. That's going to be our new permanent message. So let's go ahead and set up a couple more things. Let's make a couple more allies. So these are going to be our soldiers. So this soldier here is going to be defending. So we'll give him a behavior, and he'll have the soldier behavior. And we want him to attack hostile characters. By default, soldiers do not have the hostile tag, so that means they will not attack other soldiers or attack the avatar unless we specify here. So what we can do is just make sure all of our skeletons have that hostile tag, and then by default, our soldiers will be protecting them. And so every time a soldier attacks a skeleton, we can see here that there is a bit of a bug. So our soldier isn't going to play the animation when he attacks. And I think that has something to do with presets, because it wasn't like that before. So now he still does what he's supposed to do. However, the soldier behavior prevents his animation from playing properly. We can't customize the animation being played. So instead, we're going to be setting up the melee enemy. This happens to be the only current behavior that uses the correct animations, which is a bit of a pain, but it is what it is. So instead of attacking the avatar, we're going to be attacking hostile characters. So this is essentially a fix, a temporary fix, mind you. So now we can see he's playing the animation. Skeleton also needs to attack him. So we'll set up Skeleton to be attacking. We don't want him to attack other hostiles. Instead, we want to set up a new tag for all of our allies. So we ally. And we'll give that tag to everyone else. One thing to keep in mind is by default, these tags will appear. So hostile, enemy fighter, ally, etc. These tags are associated with the behavior, so it might cause a problem later down the road. For now, it won't, because we have his behavior targeting only hostile characters. So much how we added this ally tag, we're probably going to make a new tag to attack only enemies. So in style, I'm going to be making a new tag called enemy, and we'll give it to our skeleton. Behavior kind of overwrites certain things, such as tags. Now we can see they're attacking each other. So the problem here is our Barbarian Chief will eventually die. So that healer is going to come in. So the first thing we'll do is we'll set up the skeleton to attack with much less damage. We don't want him to basically kill our Barbarian in like 3, 4, or 5 hits. Instead, our Barbarian is going to be healed whenever this character gets close. For our healer here, we want them to heal any of our allies. So let's see how this works. Right now, she might not be close enough. We'll put her a bit closer, just so she can register the events going on. Not really doing anything. Now she's just coward. She's running from the fight. Learning every day. Love to see it, BitLancer. If you have questions, feel free to drop them here in chat. Heading out, Bartholomew. Have a great one. Anytime. It's a great building community. So every time the Skeleton Warrior respawns, he says, I can't believe how fun and awesome Escape Room Artist is. Rattle, rattle. So one thing is I'll probably have these skeletons have a little bit more health. And I want my healer to help more often. So I think what is conflicting here is the tags to flee. So we'll make sure enemy is the tag to flee rather than hostile. See how this plays. Now it'll take 2 hits to kill the skeleton. My healer gets a little bit too close when it comes to healing. But ideally, we're going to have 2 different battles going on in this little pathway. Oh, our healer will be placed right here. We'll probably have 2 different healers. And they're going to be in this walk zone, which will extend. Probably make it maybe 15. Then the Z-axis will do 5. We'll have another ally on the opposite side. Maybe 2 of them. We're going to use the same preset, or I should say behavior, as this other character here. And then we also want to give them the ally tag. The first thing I did was give them the ally tag. And you can give multiple objects a tag at the same time by using the shift select. And then we'll click both of them, and we can edit them together, adding the melee enemy. So again, we would use the soldier, but it doesn't play the correct animations, which is a little bit frustrating. So on our melee enemy, we want to make sure the tags to attack are going to be enemies. So this is a custom tag that we're setting up. Then we're going to duplicate our skeleton. And same thing, if anybody has a repeatable message they'd like to see used, do let me know. But we're going to use our respawn location and a message when it respawns. We'll probably have 3 skeletons here. So it'll be like 2v2 on this side of the field. Any message will do, as long as it's appropriate. This will be skeleton message 2. And we want to make sure that one of the tags is skeleton.respawn.2. Respawn, the lower one, does not have the message on it. The upper one, we want to make sure, is skeleton.message.2. And then this one is the one with the message on it. And so again, the message we're waiting for is our new skeleton.message.2. For now, it'll say hello. And so when this skeleton dies, he's going to be sending out that message. And he'll be sending it to the tag skeleton.message.2. And lastly, his respawn to tag is going to be the new one that allows him to respawn right here. I'm going to make him say, and we'll use the same text format, which I think is important. Oh, that's a great suggestion, Woke Zombie. LOL, now I'm working for Touche. I have to refrain from using inappropriate messages. Oh, that's very custom. I love it. So I'm going to duplicate it, and then we'll use Escape from Artist's text. My favorite game. So this one, we're going to be setting up for skeleton.message.3. So again, all we're doing is we're creating a message that is spoken when the skeleton dies. So it represents like, hey, the skeleton died, time to respawn. And we can customize it. It'll likely end up being something simple like evil energy circles through the battlefield, or something that just allows the character to understand like, hey, these are immortal. These characters cannot be killed. But for now, we're just having fun with it. And then we want the respawn location. So skeleton.respawn.3. So both of these skeletons, we just want to make sure they're attacking allies and avatars. So the character has the custom avatar tag. And then the respawn tag is the third one. Message sent on death will be the third one. Very good. I think if I set everything up correctly, we should be good to go. The only thing is, yeah, we'll test it, see if it works. ZMX, how are you? Welcome in. And yes, congratulations, Woke Zombie, on joining Touche Studios. We got a little 2v2 action going on. This one dies. LOL, now I'm working for Touche. I have to refrain from using inappropriate messages. This one says, my favorite game. Right now, our healer isn't really doing her job. So we gotta customize her healer behavior a little bit. Do your job, healer. It has something to do with the walking zone because I don't see her walking at all. We can also see the healing radius is rather small, so the healing detection is what affects it. So basically, she has to walk up to the people inside the green space in order for her to even activate the healing. However, she isn't walking, and so that's the problem. So I'm not sure why she's not walking around. She's not moving at all. I attack her, she'll run away. And then I have to just beat her to make her work. Okay, we don't want that. Let's see if I can adjust some settings here. I don't know why she doesn't want to move. So instead, this is a little, I guess, hack, if you will. I can have her have a parent. So this will be healer parent. Oracle's healer. And I can parent. First I'll set this up to where it is. Yeah. Well, we want it to be invisible. I'll put it underground. Better yet, I'm going to place it in its own little kind of like confinement box. Oy, oy. Essentially, this prevents it from going outside of this predefined area. Roam around. So this is going to be a citizen that'll act on its own accord. And we'll give it a much bigger walking zone. And whenever our healer gets close, to a character, it'll just heal them. So what we can do is we can set up a few things. We can have this character itself whenever it notices ally, detects an ally, it'll look at the player. So I think this will define if the asset rotates towards the avatar. It is only the avatar, which is a little bit awkward. But we'll see if this works. We'll have a 0-second delay there. And we want to remove the walking zone from the healer behavior. So this is the hack I kind of mentioned before. By having the parent do all the movement, our healer can focus basically on healing. So as we saw, it wasn't moving around by default, which was a little bit strange. But now our healer will be kind of like positioned to just wander. And so she'll just heal people as she gets close to them. Don't want to have any speed here, so she doesn't walk anywhere. And then we also want to turn off the flee. Let's see how this works. Fred and Ferd, what's up? How are you? A's, how you doing, A's? Another question, Roxy. What does making a preset of a melee enemy make that preset invincible? That's the problem. That's something that Sandbox added in the recent edition. I believe it's been reported. It's just a matter of time. Right now, it works as in. So if you want to use presets with enemies, use the predator behavior. Soldier behavior does work as well, but as we saw, your new problem is that the animations are not connected properly. So we've connected a citizen behavior, so this character will now walk around. So the new problem is, like, she doesn't have a sense of urgency, which is something the healer can do. Like, it just runs up to people that need healing, you know? But now, when she gets close to the Barbarians here, she heals them. But one thing to note is she is aiming herself at them. And so she moonwalks across the battlefield. Which might not be a good idea in hindsight. If I had to change anything, let's see. I would probably, first of all, just delete this example. And she'll be like a ranged healer. So here's another idea I had in my notepad, and we'll kind of like walk through it, talk through it. I love really like exploring ideas and mechanics and troubleshooting things that you guys have problems with. So if you have questions, this is a great place to ask. Hey HD, Go West, I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Maxi Mac, welcome in as well. Question, says A's. In monkeying around, how did they make it possible to control the direction of the crocodile? So the crocodiles, very likely, and are you talking about the one that is by default just kind of like swimming around? Because that one's a little bit more easy. It's like a patrol. If you're talking about the animations of the crocodiles, those are likely set up in Voxedit. The one with the rod, the eye rod. Can you rephrase that? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, I'm sorry. I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about the fishing pole one with the meat in front of it. That is a lot of fun, and I thought the same thing. Like, how did they do that? It might take us a while to talk through that one, but just to like theorize, they had a item, and I guess I can set up a kind of an example. Just to help visualize it. There was the item that the player would pick up. And so I think when the player picks it up, it had an item connected to it. So it was like a parent object. And this parent that you picked up had the child that had its own pivot point, basically its own radius around it. So you can see this bounding box here that would be in front of the crocodile. So the crocodile then had a active kind of like toggle to where it would be moving, much like a platform would. In fact, I imagine that crocodile, if you were to sit on it for too long, it go the direction. That is if it's using a platform behavior, which I'm very curious now. I'll probably do that offline to test. And so by having that parent object with a child in front of it, it had a unique tag so that the crocodile would be facing it. So it had that kind of like false facing. So it would turn, much like how our character was turning and moonwalking, to face our allies. So as the crocodile was turning, it was also turning the platform behavior, which I think is a fantastic mechanic. I love how they did it. Hey, Huddle Hill, welcome in. How are you? So Fred Ferd says, this isn't really helpful, but interesting. If you have an instant death message on the melee preset, and then have that asset respawn to tag on death, it will die properly instead of being invincible. So an instant death message with a respawn to tag. That's a very cool find. We can test that out real quick, Fred and Ferd, as we're talking about it. Yeah, A's, that's my first thought. And of course, this is me theorizing. I don't want to get too deep into it, but maybe that'll put you on the path to enlightenment. I'm very interested myself. So I'll take another look at it in the monkeying around game in person. I want to definitely test that platform theory. But what Fred and Ferd is mentioning, and I kind of want to test it, because that's relative to our game here. I'm going to make a quick enemy preset. So this melee enemy preset, as Fred and Ferd mentions, has an instant death message. So basically when it spawns, we want to kill it again. So I'm going to give it a custom tag. So giant skeleton. And we're going to have a detect message here that is found on the speaker component. That when it detects our giant.skeleton, it's going to spit out on a pretty long delay. We actually want to keep this delay relatively long. We're going to have kill.skeleton. So our giant skeleton, by default, is going to have that melee enemy. And so it needs that kill.giant skeleton instant death message. But I think the idea with a preset is to spawn it elsewhere. Hey, Biometa, thanks for the follow. Welcome in. So the whole idea with presets is you're kind of like spawning them. And so we're going to have an asset spawner. For now, I'll get to use some of my other assets here. My new lamps, which is my logical lamp. So this is going to replace number pads for me. And what I'm going to do with it is if I have like a multi-step type of event, I can duplicate it and then rotate it so that at first glance, I'll be like, oh, this is step 1, this is step 2, duplicate it again. Step 3, and step 4. So yeah, this is going to be something I'm working on, just perfecting these lamps. Let me know what you think about them. I'll probably put them on the marketplace at one point. So we're going to do an asset spawner. And for now, it'll be visible. That's fine. But it's going to be spawning a preset. And it's going to be spawning that giant skeleton. So we're going to, when this character dies, which he dies to the kill.giant skeleton. Hey, nice to meet you. Welcome. And so Vvox throwing out her input. I do want to test it though. So we need the respawn to tag. And so we want our giant skeleton.respawn. Essentially, it's going to spawn on this same tag. And so our skeleton itself will not be in the game at first. Instead, it's going to spawn once we get close. Again, this is just for testing. It probably won't make it into the game, but I want to discover if this works. But when the player gets close to this, it's going to spawn giant skeleton. So we had the respawn already set up, but now we're going to do a spawn. So the first one. That's going to be our asset spawner. Lastly, now that this is set up, I'm going to save it as a preset. This looks good. Respawn to tag setup. Yeah, everything's fine. So I'm going to save it as a preset. This is going to be our giant.skeleton. I'll delete him. Now on our asset spawner, it's going to be a one-time on the use spawn.giant.skeleton. And we'll have the delay set to max. Then we're setting up the preset here. Use preset, giant skeleton. Cool, let's test it. Hey, Garnican. I'm doing very well after the weather. Thank you very much for asking. More or less, I had power for about 2 days. No power for about 2 days. What actually caused a lot of difficulties this weekend is my computer forgot how to use Windows, I believe because of the power surges. I need a better storm surge like protector, and so I may have to replace some computer parts. We'll find out though. And yeah, Biometa, if you have questions, please feel free to ask them. Doesn't matter if they're beginner, expert, whatever. So first thing I noticed is the skeleton's health bar is white. However, as Fred and Ferd mentioned, we can kill it. So it is working as intended, which is good. So this is actually something we're looking for, because this is a fix for a current bug. Unfortunately, you know, we're kind of navigating a bug. The most curious thing to me is the white health bar. Health bar is a pure white, which kind of fits our theme, so I'm not against it. But yeah, Fred and Ferd, thank you for sharing. That's a great find. And so the only other thing here is the instant death message does have to go out in order to make the skeleton respawnable. But now I'm going to attempt the only once toggle here. But then like the skeleton kind of like dying multiple times. So now when I kill him again, of course I do need to wait that full 8 seconds. And we'll see if I can defeat him now. Okay, yeah, so it only took that one time. So basically, that one instant message was able to reset it. So, because of that, I want to demonstrate the bug. So I duplicated the original here. I'm going to just remove this tag. And instead of killing him with the instant death message as we set up, this time our skeleton will just spawn normally. So here's the problem. As you can clearly see, I can't hurt him. And that's because it's currently bugged. So the preset itself with the melee enemy behavior is currently bugged. So he's literally invincible, which is fun to an extent. But in our game, we want these skeletons to be destroyable, and they keep coming, they keep respawning. We don't want like an invincible skeleton, because then the player, he just 1,000 health. Eventually, that was the problem. And so now we understand that the melee preset is just bugged. And so that was a great solution provided by Fred and Ferd. So thank you, Fred and Ferd. So giant.skeleton respawn. Just by having that instant death message. Fixes it. And you only had to do it once as well. So you don't have to do it every time you kill the skeleton. It's just the one time. Escape from Artist. Mother's maiden name, first car? Oh yeah, Escape from Artist. Just drop the first 24 words, from your secret recovery phrase. I'll back it up for you. No problem. Cool. I love it. Works great. So we're gonna have our Barbarian here. He's gonna be invincible. Something I wanted to set up just for fun. So he's gonna be. Unfortunately, we can't use the soldier behavior. It's just strange to me that all of these things just don't work. And because of the recent reset kind of overhaul, so like certain behaviors just don't work correctly. So for example, it looks like he's punching. That's good. At least my giant's punching. I don't like how he's standing though. He puts his hand on his hip. That's not how you act in combat. I feel like some of these animations could be better. And so let's see what he looks like in melee enemy pose. So here's the difference. Now he's doing these animations as a melee enemy. So it went from him as a soldier to basically going from an idle stance to like a punch. But now, because he has this melee enemy animation moveset, he looks like he's in combat. He's not putting his hand on his hip, to second guess his life. Now he looks like he's angry. So again, much like with these Vikings, I'm going to customize it to where he's using this animation moveset. He's only attacking enemies. All these skeletons basically running at him. It's gonna be a really cool scene where this one giant is just fighting off all of these skeletons. It is if you're sassy, halfd0rk. I mean, it is. That's like the way of the crane. It's the way of the sass. Hey, don't mess with me. So yeah, main difference here is all of the different animation movesets attached with each behavior. So if you want a character who looks angry, looks aggressive, you're gonna want to use the melee enemy. If you don't mind the character just kind of like casually punching, like a criminal, then the soldier is the one for you. Snaps. Yeah, there you go, halfd0rk. Soldier doesn't trigger the chase animation. Yes, you're totally right. Indeed, we can totally take a look at the comparison here. I'll give one the melee enemy, and then this skeleton. It's going to be like role reversal here. The skeleton is just going to keep respawning, and he'll be fighting off like 4 Barbarians here. So we'll make the skeleton respawn on itself. This is something you can do. So we'll do skeleton.0 just for this test. And we give the skeleton his own tag to respawn on. Our Barbarians, we're going to set up where each one of them has a different behavior, and we can see which does which. So for example, our Predator will have a soldier, melee enemy, and a Predator. The Predator, meanwhile, we want to be attacking only the enemies. And then just read them a little bit better. We'll do life bar display as always. This will be Barbarian Predator. This one will be Barbarian Melee. This one will be a Barbarian Soldier. And then we just want to set up the life bar, so where we can always read it. That way we can at least see while we're in the play mode, you know, which does which. So we have our 3 barbarians just beating up a skeleton. Not even detecting him now. I changed something with the skeleton. He's got... Oh, he doesn't have the enemy tag. So we just got to make sure the enemy tag is added. Save it. And so now we can compare the combat idle animations for these. We can see the melee enemy. He has that chase animation, as Vvox pointed out. But the combat idle is what really sets it apart and why I'm committing to the melee enemy. Because without the chase, it's just the soldiers like casually just walking around. So it looks a little bit awkward. All right, so let's go ahead and set up that final scene that I had in mind. Barbarian here. We'll call him the Barbarian. He's basically going to be invincible, just for fun. So I'm going to toggle on the invincibility so he can resist damage. But it'll look like he's taking hits, but because he has this invincibility toggle, he'll just not take any damage. And so then we're going to have these skeletons, and we're going to have a couple of them. And so they're going to attack specifically our Barbarian. So they just really want to kill him. But if the player gets too close, sure, we'll have the avatar. We'll have a Barbarian tag. And we're going to have a couple of these skeletons. And they're all going to keep respawning. We're going to have a couple respawn points. So instead of the .0 that we set up, which was on him, we're going to have skeleton.b.1. Duplicate him. This will be skeleton.b.2. And we'll have 4 total. Skeleton.b.3. And skeleton b.4. So I only set up the respawn tags. So basically our Barbarian punches them all to death. And I'll probably give their health bar something low. So maybe it'll take like 2 hits. It'll probably take 11, 12. And so much like how I demonstrated before, these are logic assets that I've made. So these are basically what I replace number pads with. So if you watch any other game creators out there that are streaming their content, such as OG Shakespeare, we have Fred and Ferg, we got Roxy Miguel, some of the creators in the space. They usually use their own logic-based assets, but number pads are a very common beginner-friendly asset to use, but these are optimized. And so what makes them optimized? Well, they only have 6 faces. So a top and a bottom, forward, left, right, and back. The number pad, just to finish that thought, actually has faces hidden inside of it. So while it is like a small square that people can add, whatever logic they want to it, inside of it, it actually has extra faces. It's hard to see with my ice. You can see that there are hidden kind of boxes inside of it, so it is not as optimized. That's why I made these. And then I also have them with extra numbers. So you can see here, each one of the faces is going to represent a different respawn point. We set up skeleton.b.4. I'll copy this, .3. Skeleton.b.2. And skeleton b.1. And so all these serve as a respawn point for my skeleton, so when they respawn. And it doesn't matter about collisions because they just kind of run through it anyway. Only the avatar can't run through collidable objects. That was for our giant skeleton, so I'll just hide it for now. So let's see this in action. We have a giant who basically punches these skeletons. He's invincible, so he doesn't take any damage. These skeletons have a lot more health than I'd like, and our barbarian kind of punches really slow. We can't really adjust the attack rate, but we can at least adjust the detection. And then I think for all of these, we're just going to give him 1 health point. Just so we can witness a massacre here. He's getting interrupted, so that's what's happening. So as he swings, he's getting interrupted. Have you ever noticed when a character has that red circle, if you attack them while that red circle is up, it'll interrupt them. And so that works for enemies as well as allies. It's just a never-ending combat here. But yeah, that's going to be wrapping up our show. Thanks everybody for bringing questions and all that good stuff. Gee, yes, the Tempest Gizmos. That's a great example. Yeah, gee whiz. It's one of those things that nobody really mentioned in the early days. And so then, like, it was discovered and shared, and then people are like, oh, it's actually not great to use these number pads, even though that's pretty much what most people use them for. It's just logic. Because it just reminds people of, like, hey, oh, this is, you know, the mechanics. This is something mechanical. This is something I can put, you know, like a detector message on, etc. But yeah, I highly recommend everybody make their own logic-based assets. If you want to use mine as a template, feel free. You know, this is a design that I made that I'm very proud of. I'll eventually put it in the marketplace, but it's not, like, copyrighted. So make your own version that use an asset that you can call your own, and it'll really make you want to jump back into the Game Maker and make cool things. And I think that's what it's all about. And so if you guys are interested in learning more about Sandstorm and the events going on, do check out the website. There's currently a contest for Halloween theme, so I just want to make sure we point that out one more time. So there is a CyberCon partnership where we're making a trick-or-treat themed Halloween party scene. So if you want to participate in a Voxedit contest, this is a great way to get involved. And it is Sandstorm inspired, and I suppose hosted, sponsored. So you'll want to, you know, try and keep it in line with Sandstorm, and especially CyberCons. That'll get you a couple bonus points. Yeah, they even mentioned it here. Bonus points for linking CyberCon's branding. CyberCon's being, you know, the apes with like a cyberpunk aesthetic. And so finally, yeah, just check out this link. I dropped it in chat. Keep in mind some of the rules here. It's Halloween themed, maximum size 128, 5,000 faces max. Yeah, I wish you all good luck. This does end October 14th, so you don't have that much time. So you'll want to get started, work on it, you know, in the meantime. Less than 2 weeks. GG's. Yeah, Maxi. I hope so too. Today, or I should say late last night, my computer just wouldn't start, so it was a Windows problem, but I hope I fixed it. But thank you everybody for your concern. Thank you for tuning in for the Sandstorm Game Maker session. I hope you all have a fantastic day. We'll be wrapping things up.